and welcome back to another FIFA 21 video, and today we're talking first impressions. Now, I've been playing FIFA 21, basically the EA Play trial, so 10 hours, and I'm not gonna lie, pretty much the entirety of that 10 hours has gone on to career mode. So although this is a first impressions video for FIFA 21, it's more focused on my favourite mode in FIFA, and that's career mode. I did touch on some other bits as well. I was able to get on Volta football a little bit, mostly online with Hav, and just give the regular online mode a go with Hav as well. So yeah, bits and pieces, but like I said, mainly career mode. So let's start with that, the career mode. If you're like me, you'll be thinking or wanting to know, are there any real major changes? And the answer, I think for the most part, is yes, which is odd. I feel as if they've not reinvented the wheel. This is still FIFA career mode, kind of as you know it. Like, as I'm showing footage here, you'll see the menus kind of look the same as they have for a long time. You know, just on first impressions, you think, this hasn't changed. In fact, when I booted it up, I was like, you see the same manager faces. The creator manager is exactly the same. I'm gutted to say you still can't use real life managers. You can retire a player and try your potluck at getting the team you want to manage. You can do that, but you can't, for example, as a Villa fan, I can't use Dean Smith, which really bugs me. And I'm sure Man City fans would want to use Pep, and you know, goes on and on. I'm sure United fans probably wouldn't want to use Ollie. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, it kind of bugs me still that we have to, you know, create our own manager, or that we don't have the option to use a real life manager, especially when those managers are in the game. Like Dean Smith, his likenesses are there, and I can't use him, and that bugs me. But anyway, moving on to the actual, you know, meat and bones of this career mode. The main addition, for me anyway, I think is match sharpness. You know, they'll advertise that the main addition is now being able to jump in and play and, you know, simulate the games, see it all play out like on Football Manager, and then jump in if it's going bad, or even jump out if you're way ahead and just want to simulate to the end. That's a cool feature, but for me, the simple addition of match sharpness has really made a difference. So, you know, you probably already know, but the basics of it is that you can not only control the player's fitness by, you know, going easy on how often they train, how often they play, if they play the full 90 minutes, all the stuff that's been there before, you know, fitness in FIFA, that's not changed. However, match sharpness has. So, for example, if I'm playing in my Villa career mode and I'm not using Al Mohammadi, for example, his match sharpness dipped real quick. I didn't use him in many preseason games, and then I wasn't using him in many training sessions. I'll get to training sessions in a minute because they're interesting. And yeah, all of a sudden, his match sharpness was as low as about like 6 or 7 or something. Just using an example, there was a few other players like that. And then when it come to playing my first EFL Cup game, I wanted to rotate the squad. I wanted to use my backup squad. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, I can't play him, because if the match sharpness is low, you'll get a minus on their stats. So the stats will go down. And if their match sharpness is high, then you get a little boost. So I obviously concentrating on keeping the likes of Jack Grealish sharp, and, you know, getting a little boost on him was brilliant every time. But then having to think, okay, if I'm going to use some of these fringe players, I then need to go into training a couple of weeks beforehand and start getting them in regular training sessions so they're match sharp. And I just think that adds such an interesting layer to it. For someone like me anyway, who can spend hours and hours on a career mode on FIFA, and then sometimes just feel like I'm going through the motions, just being able to add in this extra little thing you've got to think about makes all the difference. So yeah, let's jump into training sessions. They're very similar to last time, where you can go in and play the drills. You probably know a lot of these drills. They've added a few new ones, but you'll also, you know, recognize a few familiar ones. These have always been fun to play, but I've never had a reason to play them. Like, don't get me wrong, last year you could just try up the stats, but that you very quickly fell into simulate. And don't get me wrong, I think the same could happen here, but they've added an incentive to play them at least once. So you'll go into your training mode and then you'll be able to do 3 training sessions, however you want. They could be dribbling, passing, shooting, and then you pick, which players you want involved in that. Once you play it once, whatever score, the highest score you get, so if you get an A, then whenever you simulate that particular session again, it'll always be an A, because it's you prove that you can get to an A, if that makes sense. And I think that's really cool. So it's made me want to play every training session at least once, and then it kind of makes me feel like I'm getting to use my players more outside of a game, and I think that's really cool, and it's making me want to do training sessions with my players, and I just really like it. And then once you do start getting bored of the training sessions, because they can get repetitive, as long as you've done each one of them once and done well in them, you're going to get good results. And this time, instead of the training sessions leading to stat upgrades, it, like I said, it adds to match sharpness. So all of a sudden you could go out, you can play with Grealish on a particular passing drill, do really well, and then maybe put a Henry Lansbury or something and have him benefit from that. So yeah, no, I really like the training sessions. A few other little new additions, like I said, the being able to jump in and take over, I really like that. I haven't used it too much because I'm the sort of person who'll play every game in the career mode. I'm not the sort of guy who skips often. So, but I have done it in the pre-season tournament, for example. I think I had one group game left and I was like, I don't really fancy playing it. I'll give it a try. And went a goal or 2 down or whatever, jumped in, pulled the game back, and then jumped back out again and simulated the rest. That was great. I thought, okay, this is a really cool way of maybe skipping past the games that you don't really fancy playing without the potential, well, you still got the potential of losing them, of course, but without running as much risk. And again, for someone like me, that is really cool. So I really enjoyed that feature. I ain't got a bad word to say about it. It's just, if you play Football Manager, you know this. I mean, it's not defined as Football Manager, but nothing in career mode is. Another new little addition they've done, FIFA have added different options on loans. So you can now loan to buy. And yeah, I've tried it. It's exactly what you'd expect. You should go in, play you on a loan, and then, with a deal to buy them later on. It's as simple as that. It's one of those things where it's a welcome addition because it does add to the mode and make it better, but it's also one of those things that's like, why hasn't this been in there for years? Because it's such a simple addition, but it's there, it's cool, I like it. Another little addition is that player swaps are more of a thing now, and they haven't, from you controlling it, nothing's really changed, but the offers you get, I've noticed now that half of the offers I get from my players involve a player swap. Now that might be a little bit too much because I don't think player swaps happen that often in real life, but it's still quite cool to see anyway. And 9 times out of 10, if you get a team coming in offering you a player cash deal, you could just negotiate it and just say, I'm not interested in the player, and the team will still offer you the cash more times than not. I also noticed, depending on what my scout instructions were for players I want to sign, I noticed that they will offer you players you're looking for, or players in the position you're looking for. So for example, I set up a scout instruction to look for another left back, and all of a sudden I noticed teams offer, it could have been coincidence, I'm not sure, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, I was being offered left backs for other players, and I thought that was quite cool. So yeah, I think they've not reinvented career mode. It's still very similar, but for someone like me, there's enough changes that have made it a bit more exciting. And I'd be lying if I said I haven't been addicted to it and haven't sunk in the majority of my first 10 hours of the game straight into career mode. So, if you're like me, you'll probably still will find a lot to enjoy with it. One quick thing, I did a very quick test where I started a few test seasons and simulated to the end to see if they'd fixed the bug of where earlier in FIFA 20 anyone would win the league, like West Ham would win the league, Man City had just avoid relegation. It was completely random. Big teams were playing all their reserves every game for some reason, and then they patched it and it went the extreme opposite, where Man City and Liverpool would always win the league with 107 points, and two teams at the bottom will get relegated with 0 points. And it was just they went too far the other way. So I'll give it a quick test, and it's kind of hard to tell. The first test I did it with the strict transfer budgets on, And Man United won the league. I can't remember who comes second. I think like Liverpool were third, and then Man City finished like mid-table. But the points were quite realistic. I think Man United won it on 80-something points. The teams that got relegated got relegated on the sort of points you'd expect, and it was a little more realistic other than Man City finishing mid-table, which I thought was odd. So I went into the teams, had a look, and noticed that pretty much everyone was playing their first team when they could, so that was cool. And then did another one with the loose transfer budgets on, and it was more similar to how we expect from last FIFA, where Liverpool, I think, won it on 100 points. Not quite as extreme as before. I think the team got relegated, wasn't on like 0 or anything, but it was still it reflected a bit more what I'd come to expect there. And then just tested it in other leagues as well, so I had a quick test on La Liga, and yeah, exactly how you'd expect. Barcelona, Real Madrid at the top. It was quite realistic, and the points weren't too extreme, so I think, dare I say, I think they've improved it a little bit. So maybe not exactly what everyone wanted, but yeah, I do think playing with your budget, either strict or loose, will make a bit of a difference, not just to you playing, but the teams around you as well. So that could be really interesting, and something we probably won't see develop until we've all got more hours with the game and played it a bit more. And to be honest, they'll probably patch a few things between now and then anyway, so we'll see. So yeah, career mode overall, nothing overly special, but enough to keep yours truly happy. Outside of that, the actual game itself, I really don't feel it's that different to FIFA 20. My first impressions when I jumped on with Hav, we were both saying this is just FIFA 20. There's no difference. It's just insane. It's so bad. I think I've kind of stepped back from that view a little bit now. The more I've sat with it, the more I've realised actually attacking's a lot easier. It's so much easier to score like wonder goals than it was before. You may love or hate that. So it depends on the sort of FIFA player you are, I guess. For me, I quite enjoyed it, though the defensive AI is actually starting to really bug me now. I've had it on more than one occasion where my back four will all go to the player on the ball like a magnet, and they'll just surround him. Like, what are you doing? It's just really dumb. I mean, I've seen a few people say that you can kind of fix that by going in and, changing your instructions a certain way, but I think just as a default setup, I don't want my defenders to be complete morons. I want them to have a bit of common sense. Like, it feels as if the AI for the attacking players have gone up a notch, and they make smarter runs, they kind of make more space available. At the same time though, the defensive AI has took a real dip, and all of a sudden every defender, to be honest, is quite realistic. A lot of the defenders are playing like the defenders actually are in the Premier League at the moment, which is terrible. So, hey, maybe EA have been super realistic on this one, who knows. But again, a bit like I was saying with the career mode, it wouldn't surprise me to see EA patch a lot of this when people start complaining once the game's fully released, so who knows. But I don't know, I'm kind of enjoying the gameplay. I do think it's a bit too easy to score, but it is what it is. Away from that, I did try Volta. I won't jump into Volta too much because I know Hav's gonna cover this in his Lightning Cave, I believe, which you can check out on Friday. So he'll be covering, because he's really, really enjoyed Volta, and he's had a lot of good things to say about it, so I don't want to step on his toes too much. If you want more Volta views from us guys, then make sure you check out Hav's Lightning Cave on Friday. From my point of view, I jumped in and played a bit of the co-op Volta, which is new, with Hav, and I had a really good time. It was just a lot of stupid fun. It's the sort of thing I can imagine non-FIFA regulars or non-FIFA players jumping in and enjoying, because it's a bit more easy. It's a bit easier to play Volta. It's a bit more daft. And the way you can sort of customize your character and upgrade him and stuff like that, I think may appeal to more, non-football fans in a weird way. I mean, me and Hav definitely talked about that, and bringing in other friends that might actually enjoy the Volta mode but not regular FIFA. So I think Volta's had a lot of upgrades, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it was the main new feature of FIFA last year. This FIFA doesn't really have anything like that. It's just expanding on career mode, expanding on Volta. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know, that might be a good thing or a bad thing, depending if you like those modes to begin with. Very quickly, I didn't touch on Ultimate Team because I hate Ultimate Team. I think it's a complete waste of time, don't like it. In the full review that we do for FIFA, I'm sure we'll jump in it. I'm not sure if it's going to be me who full reviews it, or Have, or Matt, who knows. One of the football nerds will. But I'm sure we'll jump into Ultimate Team then because we have to for review, but right, if I've only got a few hours with the game for this first impression, I'm not doing Ultimate Team, so sorry. But yeah, that's it. They're my first impressions on FIFA 21. I hope it helped. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit a like on this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you can check out all our other great videos on all our other great games that we talk about, as well as more FIFA stuff that will be coming your way. Me and have always done a career mode battle, as you likely already know. We're probably going to be relaunching that on FIFA 21, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Also, make sure you check out the website respawning.co.uk for all the latest news and reviews. You can also find us again on podcasts. Just search Respawning UK on Google, iTunes, Spotify, wherever podcasts are found. Hopefully you will find us there. Also, make sure you're following us over on Twitter and Facebook. Again, Respawning UK is where you can find us. Once again, thank you for watching. I've been Mikey. I'll catch you next time.